Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now May 2nd of 2022, and we are just getting closer to the official release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series that will debut on May 27th, mind you. In just a short number of days from now, we are going to be getting a pretty much big peek in the marketing of the actual TV show that's going to unveil a lot more about the series and Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen's involvement in the show and more. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I have to say this, everything related to Disney Star Wars, a lot of fans are very skeptical at the same exact time as very excited about the future of the franchise. And if you guys would like to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, we are currently in a very mixed phase of Star Wars, coming off from the Book of Boba Fett. There's no denying here that there's a handful of fans that are remaining very skeptical about the Kenobi series, about the Mandalorian Season 3, the Ahsoka Tano TV show, and more. And the reason being is that when you look back at the marketing of the Book of Boba Fett, you guys may very well recall that it was heavily marketed as a show that was all killer, no filler, and it really turned out to be quite the opposite to a lot of fans out there. I, however, thought it was an entertaining series with a lot of flaws at the same exact time. That's how I view it. Meanwhile, there's other fans out there that just really despise the show. But I digress. So far, things are looking up for the Kenobi series because Deborah Chow is just as much of a big fan as both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are. So that's a plus. That goes to show you that Deborah Chow cares about Star Wars on a personal level. This is just not a job for her. This is not just a paycheck for her. This is something that is very spiritual to her and really much in her heart. And I think that's exactly why this series is going to feel very much passionate and real to the fans. So, on top of all of this, with Jon Favreau getting ready to begin working on the Ahsoka series with Dave Filoni, both Disney and Lucasfilm, of course, are already developing their new Star Wars projects that will be announced in the near future. Now, it's described that currently, however, recently Disney CEO Bob Chapek canceled a major project for the Star Wars universe that involved Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy in the mix as well. It's described that recently Bob Chapek finalized the cancellation of one of the new Star Wars trilogies that was going to dive into the High Republic era of Star Wars that was going to be led by Kathleen Kennedy. One of the main reasons as to why Bob Chapek canceled the High Republic era of Star Wars is that Kathleen Kennedy was actually trying to turn Rian Johnson's new trilogy at the time into this one, where Johnson would be directing and writing the High Republic era of the franchise in the form of a trilogy of films. This was a big off-putting reveal for the Disney higher-ups, as they want little to nothing to do with Rian Johnson's anymore, and it was one of the main reasons as to why they went ahead and canceled this new upcoming trilogy. So far, however, Kennedy is trying to get Johnson to direct a couple of episodes for the Acolyte TV show for Disney+, which, by the way, is not doing all that well so far. This HR trilogy that was canceled by Chapek also had a lot to do with the fact that Kathleen Kennedy was going to have Rian Johnson essentially completely change the character of Yoda. And Yoda was intended to be the main character, or at least one of the main characters in this new trilogy, that Kennedy and Johnson was, of course, going to change very much like what they did to Luke in The Last Jedi. Now, let me just stop right here for 1 second before we get onto the more detailed material. Now, obviously, this trilogy was not going to work. Not for the fans, not for Disney, not for Lucasfilm. It would have been a nightmare for them. It would have been a box office failure, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. It would have been a box office failure. In fact, you know what? I think it would be a very likely fact that this would have failed at the box office, because when you go ahead and look at what happened with The Last Jedi, yes, it did make money. It did make money because at the time, everybody didn't necessarily know exactly how the movie was going to turn out, so everyone went to go ahead and see it. They saw it, and they knew who was directing it. It was Rian Johnson, who, by the way, was very praised at the time, who was already promised a new trilogy before the movie even came out, leading people to believe that this guy has got to be great if he got a trilogy before The Last Jedi even released, right? That's what really stirred up a lot of people to go ahead and check out this movie. And that, of course, is what really surprised a lot of fans of how the movie turned out to be. If you guys like The Last Jedi, that's fine, by the way. I mean, everybody's open to their opinion. You know, we live in a free world, and that is belong to, of course, the Star Wars community. Everybody can express what they want to. But there's no denying the fact that the majority of fans dislike The Last Jedi. That is a fact. So, moving on from this, alright? Now, of course, this new trilogy of all things that Kathleen Kennedy was working on and was actually trying to recruit Rian Johnson as a director for the 3 movies, both Rian Johnson and Kennedy were very determined to make all of this happen in order to change the character of Yoda. Since Yoda is Johnson's favorite character, he wanted to show fans a brand new take on the character by leaving the Jedi Order and changing the ways of the Force with Yoda. This new trilogy was also going to involve brand new revelations about the Jedi Order that both Kennedy and Johnson wanted to also change and alter the Jedi Code and focus on identity politics and real-world conflicts, much like what they're doing with the Acolyte show. In these movies, of course. Now, something that Chapek knew would be a disaster for fans. This new trilogy for the High Republic was also set to include Brie Larson's character Maeve, who is also set to appear in the Acolyte series still. Brie Larson was going to be a Jedi god in a sense in the new trilogy, essentially a Jedi created by these godlike creatures that mimic, and I say mimic, the wills. Now, Kennedy and Johnson were crafting their own ideas based on Lucas's concepts of the philosophy of Star Wars, essentially, and wanted to do something of their own. As of now, this trilogy is dead in the water and not happening at all in the slightest. Now, that's a very interesting development, is that this new trilogy, the High Republic trilogy that we've been talking about that got canceled by Chapek, was actually going to be Rian Johnson's new Star Wars trilogy. Now, Rian's trilogy went from being something on a blank canvas to something being based on a series of books that released not too long ago. It's a very interesting change of what they were trying to do, and in a sense, it still technically was, you know, drawing something on a blank canvas of what Johnson wanted to do, right? But this still would have been horrible for fans. I don't know about you guys, but changing Yoda, having Yoda leave the Jedi Order in a sense of exactly what Luke Skywalker did, and if you're repeating that, it just comes off like you're doing this on purpose to really frustrate the fans. I don't know about you guys, but that's how it comes off to me. But when you look at movies like this, The High Republic, I don't know, when you look at the books, the comics, and all of that material, it never really occurred to me how some fans really enjoy that. Now, if you guys enjoy that, that's fine. But I could really never really get into it. I did my research, you know, I went through some of the books, I went through some of the comics, I really educated myself on the High Republic era, and really, you know, it really kind of tried to understand exactly what it was all about, and it never really attached to me, and a lot of fans out there would say the same. And that's another reason as to why, you know, this series of films were probably not even going to make it in the long run anyways. Even if it were to be made, it wouldn't have done well at the box office. You know, I think that a lot of fans can almost agree that that would be assured. So, on top of all of that, guys, you know, I think that Chapek has his head on straight, even though he is planning on leaving by 2024 because of all the drama that's happening right now. We won't talk about that in detail, but I'm sure that you guys have heard all about that, about Disney on the news. But overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know if you think all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.